speak to that. Actually, we can do it right now, can't we? So what I just said was we had 4 wonderful applicants. Thank you all. And the first 2 were for North and East Burial Ground Commission. And I'm going to ask the council, is there any nominations?
William Leary for the full-time position and Carol Gafford for the alternate position.
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony, as stated. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you. And second was the Bristol Housing Authority with 2 applicants, Donna Wilson and Jeannie Bundy.
I nominate Donna Wilson.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Aaron. Discussion. I did reach out to the solicitor, and Amy, if you could just weigh in on this. I'm going to start off by saying this has absolutely zero reflection on the candidate whatsoever. It's just the seat that she holds. Please.
So because of Benjamin Church, because of the senior centers, because their operations are intertwined with the town's operations, the council could choose to, if the council decides to appoint Ms. Wilson to this position, could choose to make that appointment subject to receipt of an advisory opinion from the Ethics Commission, indicating that there's no conflict of interest with her holding those positions simultaneously.
And Amy, for clarity, what would that require from, in this instance, Donna?
That would require her to request an official review and blessing from the Ethics Commission. And our office could assist her with that, since she's an appointee for a town position or town adjacent position.
So I'm going to say it the same way as that this is I'm going to say it again, no reflection of Donna Wilson. It's just a reflection of the position that she holds and the position that she could potentially hold in combination. So, council?
Mr. Chairman, I'll include that, definitely. I think it's worded in, it's prudent that we do that.
Person. All right. So we had a motion, second, Aaron, you seconded it? Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Congratulations to both. Thank you all for the moments that you took with this council. We appreciate it. And thank you for making our job very difficult to pick somebody. So thanks. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
May I ask that we pull GG4?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, including pulling GG4. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes. We have the town council meeting minutes from April 22nd, the town council executive session meeting minutes from April 22nd, the town council special meeting minutes from April 27th, and the town council special meeting minutes from April 29th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next item on the agenda is public hearing cancellation. This is to receive notice that the public hearing scheduled for the reconsideration of Alicia Saldana, Kali Corporation doing business as Kali Kitchen regarding the transfer of the Class BV liquor license to Tawfiq Walid Asai, Kali Bar and Grill LLC, 34 Gooding Avenue, has been canceled at the request of both the transfer and the transferee who have submitted formal withdrawal of their petition for the transfer.
What motion?
Yes.
Receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is B2. This is the public hearing cancellation. This is to receive the notice that the public hearing scheduled for David Faria Ben, the Franklin LLC, 195 Franklin Street, request for modification of the BV intoxicating beverage license has also been canceled as the applicant did not obtain the required prerequisite approvals necessary to proceed with the hearing.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You.
The next item on the agenda is C1. This is ordinance 2025-6. This is amendment to the, 2026-06, amendment to the Chapter 16 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 5, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 16-143 and Section 16-1 52 and Section 345. And this is parking regulations for Burnside Street. This is first reading.
Make a motion to constitute first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C2. This is ordinance 2026-7. This is the amendment to Chapter 11 fees and charges to Section 11-1 comprehensive fee schedule. And this is for the zoning and planning related fee changes. This is first reading.
Motion, yep.
Go ahead.
Motion to approve first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is C3. This is ordinance 2026-8. This is amendment to Chapter 16 Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9 of the Residential Parking, Section 16345. And this is to amend the parking on Bradford Street between Hope and Central. This is first reading.
Make a motion for it to constitute first reading.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? I do, is that we just went through three very quickly here. These are all first readings just for the public. All of this is a result of discussions at prior council meetings to get to this ordinance. And I like to call it a hear ye on the first one. So everybody knows that we're going to potentially pass it at our next meeting. So just for clarity. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D1. This is the withdrawal of the petition to transfer the license. This is a withdrawal of the request for the transfer of the license for the Class BV liquor license for Tufik Asai Kali Bar and Grill LLC, doing business as Kali Bar and Grill, 34 Gooding Avenue.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is E1. This is the sidewalk use license renewals for 26-27.
Based on the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, unfortunately, I see the VIN spot is not to be considered due to the thing. So we'll be missing one of the small business in town that it's been around for many moons. So I recall.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
So it's too bad that it's not going to continue.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is E2. This is the sidewalk and alcohol use license renewals for 26-27.
Based on the positive recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, we always talk about, we had a show cause, the very recent, but it was nice to see that there was not any issues pending with any of these businesses for us to go forward and approve them. So it's nice to see the positive side of the operation of our small businesses.
Tony, I'm glad that you brought that up. I think most, if not all of us, were here on the tremendous amount of conversation we had for the use of the sidewalks, and I love it. And the feedback that I get from most residents is that it makes when you drive downtown, when you're looking around, there's life, and you can see it outside. And we have such a beautiful community, and if we can enjoy it outside, and to Tony's point, when we first started, we had a couple of hiccups here or there, never a real issue, but to see absolutely no issues whatsoever is really heartening. And I think it's a wonderful experience for all. So,
I agree.
any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F1. This is Ana Isabel dos Reis Cudo, Rhode Island Day of Portugal Committee. This is a request to fly the Portuguese flag with the flag raising ceremony on Monday, June 1st, 2026 at 11 a.m. at the Bristol Town Hall.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F2. This is Christina Rubin, 32 Pierce Ave. This was for a request for removal of the accessible parking space located in front of the residence. This is second reading.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, just thank you to Ms. Rubin, for bringing this up to our attention. I know we always requested, to cancel, block spaces and all of that, but make more space available for parking for the residents of the area certainly is very important.
Well
Agreed.
said.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You?
So Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F3. This is the Bristol Police Department. This is a request for financial support, $1,500 for the Bristol Police Youth Leadership Academy.
I make a motion that we approve actually $2,000.
Stop it.
Oh, sorry. Did I say that?
Let the man speak over here.
No. No, I'll take a motion though. You really making it 2,000?
Yes, I am.
Is there a-
It's a good cause. This is obviously, all of the causes are good, but certainly the academy and certainly it's very encouraging
Is
to
this
see
our,
the youth of Bristol involved.
this is our
This is from council
council
contingency.
Contingency.
Yes.
I mean, we're running
Well,
up.
we used to have a council contingency, but Councilman Texera keeps spending it.
Tony's
so-
spending it.
We are kind of hitting that fiscal year though.
We are
aren't
okay.
we? Yeah.
We're okay.
So,
Yeah.
We in good position.
Yeah, we're well within. So I had a motion from Tony to up it.
I'll second it. I'll
Tony,
second.
Tony, do you know how much money is in our contingency? Is that like why
A
you're
little
making these
birdie
motions?
told me something
I think
that we
it's
have enough.
10,000.
Okay,
I think
okay.
it's 10. Yeah.
But we
Between
started
10 and
with
8.
10.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really good community policing stuff.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to
So-
do is we have a motion from Tony, seconded by Tim. Discussion. Aaron, did you want to add? anything
No,
else?
that's
No?
fine.
Sir?
I'd just like to,
Yeah, I know you're there. So
You can do a
I
commercial.
think you feel where this is going. So but please continue.
No, good evening, Sergeant Kyle Batista with the Police Department. I just want to thank you all for your time and your consideration with this, donation to our cause here. I've been involved with the camp for this is gonna be our 9th year since the beginning. I'm taking over a well-oiled machine from Captain St. Pierre. I'm going to be heading the camp this year. So I just want to thank you guys. Without the town's, support, this camp would be very difficult to run without having to up the fees for, applicants and stuff like that. So, anything that helps, can help the camp, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Sounds like it's 2,000. I mean, that's what it feels like to me.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion from the council?
no, I just like to say that I think the program just is so great. It encourages leadership, it encourages relationships. And, you read about this loneliness epidemic because everybody's on their apps and nobody's actually talking to each other. And I think it's just such a great program to be able to just foster real communication one-on-one with each other. So, yeah, I'm a fan and support. Yep.
Do you want to just provide a little information, just as like the age group and how you're going to recruit them and what the dates are?
Sure, absolutely. So the camp is designed for children in town, usually like between 8 and 14. We do allow 15-year-olds into the camp as kind of counselors and training. They help assist the staff with the kids and what we do day to day. We really hone in on qualities such as leadership, honesty, integrity, courage, stuff that these kids can bring, to help themselves throughout their academic career, their peers, things of that. So they can really be youthful leaders in our community. So we're kind of trying to just help facilitate that, help bring, kids up and really, make young leaders with, the community.
Sergeant.
So if kids are interested,
Oh,
what should
absolutely.
they
That's where I was
do?
going.
Like,
Thank
that's what I wanted to, like,
So,
since you have a commercial here as to,
Sure. So we really don't advertise the camp much. We don't need to.
Oh, okay.
The last 9 years, we fill the camp every year. We've never had an issue with registrations. The camp's been open for about a week now. We have about 4 or 5 spots left to fill, give or take. So, I mean, we just post on Facebook. We show the pictures of the kids, what we do. We explain it a little bit, and that's pretty much all the advertising that we really have to do for the camp. It's really.
and when is it going to take place? In August?
So it's going to be August 10th through the 14th at the town beach. We host the camp at the town beach, and then on that Thursday of that week, we usually go to a ropes course in Storrs, Connecticut. And there we kind of hone in on the leadership qualities and stuff that we really work on during the week. We really, use those qualities and try to bring the kids up to use some of the stuff that they learned throughout the week to help out some of the peers and themselves at the ropes course. It's a really great experience.
Very good. Thank you.
Sarge, How many participants did you just said? What's the cap?
So we usually cap it at 50.
50?
Yeah.
Okay.
50.
Any other discussion from the council? All right, so we had a crazy motion and a second for $2,000. I joke. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Look at him when we don't have any money to pay for it. Okay, so.
I thought we were
I'm
going to
joking.
reconsider now, okay.
Madam Clerk.
The next item on the agenda is F4. This is Director Zip from the Bristol Historic and Preservation Society. This is a request for financial support of $1,000 to cover the cost of the travel cover for the Nathaniel Byfield flag.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I
How are
think
you
this
guys?
is absolutely, no, Tony, we're going to turn Tony's mic off.
Motions today.
So I think this is wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I just want to start off by saying I think this is wonderful, but please tell everyone what this is.
Okay, well, I guess I don't need to give you the cookies I brought from the event we had earlier today.
We never say no to cookies.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Catherine Ziff. I'm the director of the Bristol Historical and Preservation Society. In honor of the 250, which I hope you know by now is happening, we would like to have the Byfield flag visit Bristol, Rhode Island for what looks like about 4 days. The Byfield flag is the oldest flag in the country. It's the oldest known flag in the United States, which is pretty darn cool. It's about a little less than 350 years old, just hanging around Town Hall. The Varnum Armory has stewarded and preserved the flag for the last, 4 or 5 years now. It's been a process. They have funded that conservation entirely on their own. It's been no cost to Bristol. They keep it in very carefully conserved conditions. It is, however, our flag, and we have the right to ask for it to come anytime we would like. The particular challenge in this moment is that moving the flag requires a cover, and viewing the flag requires a cover. Obviously, we would like to cover the flag to make sure that it's protected. We're talking about a kind of a plexiglass, this kind of a thing over the flag. And that will allow the flag to both move safely, be protected as it moves. It has to travel pretty flat. It has to move pretty flat. And then, of course, it'll protect it from anything. I mean, I know most people don't mean to, but things happen. Fingers go where they shouldn't be going and things like that. And this will protect the flag from all of those things. So the cost is $1,000. This will be its travel gear, if you will. And that'll allow it to travel much more easily so that anytime we want to request it to come to Bristol, we can do that. And it's much easier for us to do. So this is just for the record, the first time that anybody except the Varnum Armory has asked us, anybody has asked us to fund anything pursuant to the conservation of this artifact. It has been hundreds of thousands of dollars to conserve it in both money and sweat equity on the part of the Varnum Armory. So it's a pretty small price to pay, I think, to get to see it.
So this
And-
council authorized all of that to happen about 4 or
Right.
5 years ago.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just an outstanding, if you've just heard, I believe it, tell me, the oldest flag. Give me the particulars, please.
It's the oldest flag in the country.
Oh, there's no particulars after that.
No.
That's easy. So
That's it.
oldest flag
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah, yeah. And it's pretty cool that it's ours.
So the 250 will have the oldest flag in the country with the oldest, longest parade in the country. My goodness.
Yes, just so you know, the dates that we're looking at are June 10th through June 14th. That's to tag with Flag Day, because that's of course a good moment for us. But also to accommodate a number of school trips that'll also come, so we can really first guarantee that as many school kids as we can get can see the flag. And then there will be a good 3 or 4 days in between where we hope to have open hours for the rest of the community. This coordinates, it doesn't overlap with, but it coordinates with the showing of the Rhode Island's version of the Declaration of Independence, which will be at the Bristol Historical Society on June 1st, 2 to 4. We'll want to be first in line, maybe after me, because I think that's incredibly cool too. So it's going to be a great few weeks for Bristol.
Excellent. Council?
It's so the acrylic cover we can use again and again.
Yeah,
and again. It's not a one-time.
No,
Okay.
no, the cover that's on it has cracked is essentially what's happened.
Got it.
And they had opted for, when they had conserved it, they had opted for a particularly heavy cover that doesn't travel very well. So even just moving it around the Varnum Armory, which I think they've done once or twice, led that cover to crack. It wasn't particularly well suited to travel anyway, and it might have cracked in the process. But this cover will be designed by the conservator Maria Vasquez to travel specifically with the flag. And so it's just for this purpose.
It's
Yes.
a good investment.
I think it is a good investment. And again, like I said, it's the first time that Bristol's really been asked to put money into the conservation of this. And the thing that's being asked is so that we can allow the flag to be made available to our own population. So the next time, we have to figure out a couple of logistics about where we're going to do this. But once we figure all that out, this will be much easier to do, and maybe we can do it every year.
Yeah.
That'd be
Oh,
great. I
hey.
mean, I think that's great. I just moved that we approve the $1,000 to purchase the traveling cover for this flag. It's amazing. That,
Second. Oh,
it's so
sorry.
nice to see our work that, came to us, that this was just hanging out, got fixed and sort of refurbished, and that I've seen it down at Von Armory on one occasion. We went down there for something, can't remember what, but I think it'd be awesome that will be here.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we love to say it's not very far, the reality of how many people get to go over there and see it is not as many as we would like, let's say that. And I think making it easier we're tying it into some school field trips that are already planned.
I think
So
that's fantastic.
It's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Is it
Thank
going to
you.
be kids just from Bristol, Warren schools, or is it going to be other kids coming to see the oldest flag?
So hopefully everybody will come to see the flag. We will definitely make sure that it's
I
available.
mean, other
for
school
also-
groups, other
Yeah.
towns.
So
yeah.
right now, the school group is the Cold Andrews School. We plan to reach out to the Rockwell School and of course to Hugh Cole. The challenges there are the busing.
Right,
And what's available, that's left in the budget at this time of year, which is often good news. I don't mean to cast that as a downer, because a lot of times the PTO has money and so they can fund these trips as well.
Mhm.
So we're working on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you made the motion?
I did make a motion.
Oh, yeah, and I second that.
Discussion?
You seconded
Yes.
that.
I believe that's one of either 3 or 4 flags that we had upstairs at one time that they were just flaking away,
Yeah.
right? And we were able to restore that.
Yes,
Am I
there
correct?
were, Steve may remember the report a little better. There were 7.
Were there many? I didn't think
Yeah,
there
2
okay.
were not
Yeah.
savable.
Yeah, we have a
were.
report, I think it was.
Yes, there was a report previously.
Yep.
For some
But
reason.
I'll email it to you.
Okay,
Um,
please.
And I'll get it on the next consent agenda, but they periodically give us part of the agreement was that they have to give us a quarter, I don't know if it's quarterly, but we get at least annual reports. It was an annual report.
And thank you also for taking interest in trying to bring the flag here. Obviously, as you pointed out, I'm looking forward to look at it. I haven't seen it yet,
Me either.
so yes.
Any other discussion?
It's a significant historic artifact. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person.
Yeah.
Carl, I just have a question for you. I'm assuming 1,000 would be coming out of contingency
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
That's what I meant, yeah. Out of
I
contingency.
just want to make
Yeah.
sure we're clear on the line item.
Yeah, 1,000. That will leave you with 3,200 left.
See,
Oh,
we still have
Uh-oh.
money.
Still a couple
already
meetings
seconded.
left before.
We got a few more meetings before the end
You
of the
already
year.
seconded. Sorry, I'm going to move this forward. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G1. This is Rogers Free Library Board of Trustees. This is for one unexpired 3-year term set to expire January 2029. We have Caitlin Comerty with interest in appointment, Christina Palmer also with interest in appointment, and there's a recommendation from Annie Silva, the chair of the Rogers Free Library Board.
I needed a point of, this is all fine. Obviously, we need to set up appointments. I know we had a lot of discussion in the past on this. Refresh my memory. How many, we said 2 applicants and somebody could, Mary, maybe you can, or Madam Clerk, you can help. I thought it was 3. It may have been 2 and I'm misremembering. I just needed some clarity.
I'm going to have to look that up. I believe it was 3. However, for a point of clarity, there was previous.
2 applicants?
There was only 2 applicants.
Okay.
So
That's easy.
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
application pool, there was, we do have that happen there for quite a while. There were, let me just double check. I think there were a total of 5. We did reach out to those 5 and also confirmed by Annie Silva, who also confirmed that they were no longer interested. So these were the 2 interested parties. We did advertise multiple times and those were the 2 that are in front of the council.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, because I thought it was either 2 or 3, or it may vary, like if there was a large pool versus a smaller pool. But, well,
We just need a motion to set up interviews.
Yeah.
so moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony. As stated, any discussion?
So it'll be for the June 3rd? meeting? We'll do the interviews? Or we'll leave it open?
June 3rd makes sense to me.
Okay.
Anybody have objection to that? Obviously, we need
I would
to
just
reach out
say
to both
June
applicants.
3rd, and if it coincides with their schedule, if
Right.
not, we'd schedule it for a different date.
Sounds good. Thank
All
you.
right. Any other discussion?
So we'll do that prior to, similar to what we did today, the interviews.
We'll do interviews
Mhm.
and we can do the appointment that evening if the council is amenable to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-1. This is Library Director Dyer. This is a request for council consideration to adopt the resolution in support of fully funding state aid to libraries to the full 25%.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Well, that was quick. Okay, discussion? Director?
Thank you. We're just asking the General Assembly to fulfill the obligation, statutory obligation of state grant and aid to libraries to be the full 25% as stated in Title 29.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks for your support.
Of course.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-2. This is discussion and possible action regarding the distribution of income funds held in the Public Schools Retirement Funds of Bristol, subsequently designated to the Friends of Rogers Free Library for the benefit of the Children's Library Program, and including new funds expected to be added to the trust established under the will of Isabella M. Wardwell, dated March 29, 1938, as amended by codicil, dated May 16, 1939, including consideration of redirecting such funds directly to the Rogers Free Library.
So I'm going to ask the solicitor to start this dialogue.
And
Amy?
before you do, I'm so sorry. There is also, just for the record, there's a received at meeting document on the council dais, which is a copy of the motion from May
27.
26, 2010, as well as the copy of Mrs. Wardwell's will that pertains to these funds.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Amy?
And it's my recommendation that the council take this up with I3.
So you're asking that we combine?
Correct.
Can I get a motion out of that?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Tim to combine I2 and I3. Before we do that, Madam Clerk, could you read out?
Mr. Chairman?
Nope, I2 and I3.
Okay, I just saw that.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I think it may have been an older
Okay,
change, but
okay.
could you read out, please, I3 for the record?
I3, this is discussion and possible action regarding the distribution of funds expected to be added from the trust established under the will of Isabel M. Wardwell, dated March 29, 1938, as amended by codicil, dated May 16th, Isabel Wardwell Trust. And this is to be spent in accordance with the purpose of the Henry Wardwell Fund for the benefit of the Rogers Free Library, including consideration of directing such funds.
Thank you. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Madam.
Do I get to discuss that?
We can certainly have dialogue, but the solicitor is going to start the conversation.
Okay.
So, Amy?
Let me try to provide the succinct explanation for these two items. There is a much longer explanation, but I'll try to put it succinctly. Isabella Wardwell established a trust back in 1938, 1939, and included a number of specific bequests and beneficiaries to that trust. One of which is this, the fund noted in I2, the Public Schools Retirement Fund of Bristol, which the council in 2010 decided that the funds remaining in that fund would be directed to the library for the benefit of children's library programs. And separately, Ms. Wardwell made a specific bequest to the Rogers Free Library. The Bank of America is the trustee of the Wardwell Trust. Recently, they contacted the town as the custodian of this Public Schools Retirement Fund of Bristol to indicate their intent to file a petition with the court to terminate the trust. Essentially, at this point, the assets of the trust are such that maintaining the trust doesn't make financial sense anymore, and they will be asking for court approval to dissolve the trust and distribute the remaining funds to the beneficiaries directly. And I know the council discussed this in executive session. And this is an opportunity for the council to have a public discussion about if the court approves that dissolution of the trust, the funds that are held in the Public Schools Retirement Fund of Bristol, what should be done with those funds? And with regard to I3, the bequest that was made to the Rogers Free Library in accordance with the purposes of the Henry Wardwell Fund, relative of Isabella Wardwell. My understanding is the town doesn't have any records on file regarding the Henry Wardwell Trust. I'm not sure if the library has independent records. Okay, so I'm seeing the library doesn't have, so that, I believe I3, the library has certainly, some control over that. It's really about the council's decision, again, contingent on court approval. If the council would like to make any decisions or commitments with regard to any distribution to the Public Schools Retirement Fund of Bristol, this is an opportunity to have that conversation, similar to what you did in 2010 regarding the distribution to the library from that fund.
I feel no clearer. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So the solicitor did rightly point out we had executive session at our last meeting. Obviously, it's executive session and it's sealed. But one of the points that was discussed was using these funds or directing these funds directly to the library. And the motivation, or one of the motivations on this particular point, was matching of state aid. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert. I understand what that means. I think everybody does. But you get to use those funds to match state aid. So that means that the library would get, if I understood the math that I heard recently, approximately an additional $3,000 towards buying books or whatever. And I may be downplaying that number. I apologize if I am. That was part of the discussion. There was many parts of the discussion for clarity, but that part I'm happy to share because it seems appropriate. But if you would like to speak, if you could state your name and address for the record. And
sure. My name is Peter Maloney, 22 Fort Hill Road, Bristol.
Welcome.
And I am chair of the Friends of Rogers Free Library. I'm here tonight with my fellow friend, Steve Evanson. So I would note that the Friends provide significant funding to the library with respect to children's programming. We cover the purchase of all or nearly all of the children's book purchases, pay for all or nearly all of the performers, and we fund the Dolly Parton Imagination Library that mails out a free book to all kids age 0 to 5 in the expectation that they'll be reading at or above their grade level by the time they get to school. So just as background, the Teachers Trust income has been coming into the Friends since 2010, and we've distributed it to the library as part of a larger distribution towards children's programming. So I'm not sure what advantage the library obtains from stripping the Teachers Trust income from the Friends. It eventually all ends up at the library. It certainly doesn't accelerate the receipt of the Teachers Trust income by the library. Our practice is to estimate what the Teachers Trust income will be for the coming year and fund 50% of that before the income is earned. And even though we won't receive that income for 8 to 9 months into our fiscal year, and then once we get that income, we fund the rest of it. Also, with respect to the issue of state aid, we have issued letters to the library that enabled them to get state aid on some of our contributions. And the last point I would note is that I recognize, as Bank of America did, that the combined amount of the Teachers Trust and the anticipated amount of the Wardrobe estate coming to the library are really not considered in the investment management world to be of significant size to attract professional investment management. The Friends, on the other hand, have relationships with Rhode Island's two premier investment firms, the Rhode Island Foundation and Washington Trust. And that relationship and the income they've earned has benefited the library and Bristolians pretty well over the last 25 years or so. And so I realize the small trusts are a pain to deal with. But we are set up to handle these trusts. We have an endowment now where, Jane Bodell Fund, where we honor the request of that specific donor in terms of its use. And I would request that the town council defer any action now and refer the matter to the town's treasurer and the town administrator for their review and recommendation as this would pertain to the Friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe they already.
Director, could you speak to the point that I brought up? I certainly think that you could probably express it better than I did.
Are you talking about state grant and aid?
I am.
So it's 25 for endowment grant and aid. It is also 25% of the 2-year prior allocation and expenditure. So if the Friend, if this endowment provided us with $10,000 one year, we would get 2,500
Okay.
from the state.
So maybe I did express it well. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I didn't know what
So-
you were starting with your
Oh, that's
$3,000.
okay.
I think,
That's okay.
and Director, I think the chairman was also asking about maintenance of effort.
Sure. Maintenance of effort, in case you're concerned about, well, maintenance of effort just means that the town needs to at least maintain their funding of us in order for us to receive either of these grant and aids. Otherwise we'd need a waiver, which is pretty strict.
Okay.
And that's about it. I can say that this all initiated from the treasurer's office and the town administrator's office. So
So for
they
my,
could probably speak to that
thank you.
as well as I could. Yeah.
But can I just clarify? So
Go ahead.
it's 2 years prior. So in other words, if this were to take action today, for example, it wouldn't show up until like 28 that you would get additional money from the state. Is that right?
Right, because they need to certify, every year we do a report, so, in September, I'll be doing the report for fiscal year 2026, and then it gets certified, so by 28, they have all that info, so that's when the state decides what the pot is.
Mhm.
That's how they have the numbers to create the money.
Could I just ask one other question? And I'm not sure if you can answer this, Eileen.
Sure.
When the other money is the Friends account money, is that if it's in Rhode Island Foundation or the Washington Trust, is that generating interest, and how much interest does that come out to?
I couldn't tell you that. You can, on ProPublica, you can find their
No, I know, maybe one of the gentlemen
The
could.
gentleman could answer that. I couldn't speak to that.
Mhm. I mean, I'm just wondering if
They do quite well.
there's a
Um,
huge difference, or if it's negligible.
But as far as the teachers' trust goes, they are just a pass-through of that money within 1 year.
Mr. Maloney, did you want to, if you'd like to respond, please come up to the podium.
Yeah, so at Washington Trust, and almost, I would say at Rhode Island Foundation, they invest slightly different, but basically, I would say it's something close to what the standard 60-40 investment portfolio, 60% stocks, 40% fixed income. Rhode Island Foundation does a little bit more in private equity and real estate, but it's, for people investing on their own, 60-40 is what we're investing in. We've done pretty well in the market. And, as I said, it's professional management. Sometimes they'll dial back that ratio. Sometimes they'll increase that ratio.
So my question is, so we're talking about if this money went into the library directly and not to the Friends, they would see like a $2,500 approximate increase in state aid. And what would it be? What would there be? What would the increase be approximately to this same amount of money? Is it like negligible between the two, or is it substantially different?
In terms of state aid?
Well, just in general of the interest that you might be bringing into this.
Well, You know, the market
There you go.
performance has been outstanding, you know, of late. I'm not sure where the town invests their money. So if they're investing in just fixed income or short-term income, you know, traditionally, you know, the 60/40 portfolio involving stocks has way outperformed a more cautious, maybe not the right word, portfolio.
So what I'm.
If I may, and I want you to follow up with that, but Carl, could you respond on that?
Yeah, so the good news is also our retirement teachers funds also administered by Washington Trust.
Okay,
and the
right.
60/40. So
Right.
so that's the good news there. It's yes, I agree with you. They are very professional and they are very, very good at what they do.
So it's in the same place.
It would be in the same place.
Okay. All right.
Because I guess my question or my point is, in 2010, we agreed to give the money to the Friends of the Library to transfer to the library. I understand, I've been here for a number of years, how much the Friends of the Library has contributed to the library over the years, including, you know, upgrading some of the salaries, books and things like that. So I'm trying to figure out, the only thing that I see is to like move it directly to the library, these funds, is that there's a benefit of adding money to like the income of the library. So then you can get some extra money from state aid. I'm trying to figure out, like, is there a substantially financial district, 2,500, 3,000 might be, that it would be worth transferring these funds? That's what I'm trying to get at. If sitting here, where we've worked with the Friends of the Library and the library directly many, many years.
I have a question for the treasury. Does the library have a specific investment account, or is it part of the general funds?
Carl?
So they don't have an investment account, no.
So potentially money invested in your general account would not necessarily go to the library.
That particular fund will.
Okay.
It's earmarked to go right
Okay.
to so the interest from that fund goes directly to the Friends and then gets passed over, I guess, somehow funneled through to the library. So, yeah, that
Okay.
specific one goes directly to.
I do have a follow-up question,
Yeah. Go ahead.
which I find a little interesting because we're talking about interest here. Mary made reference to that. And obviously, let me ask the question first. The Friends of the Library allocate a certain amount yearly to the library. Am I correct?
Correct.
So there is no interest transfer, no matter how much you earn at Washington Trust or what was the other bank, Royal Down Foundation. It doesn't matter to the library itself. It matters to the Friends of the Library because that goes into your fund. But that doesn't mean that gets channeled to the library. Am I correct in that? Yes or no?
I would say pretty much correct. We target a 5%.
When you're saying correct, meaning that no, it's not going to the library, it's going to the Friends Fund.
It's adding to the investment fund that would benefit the
Correct.
library. So, for example, the Rhode Island Foundation distributes 4.5% to us. We fund the library with, our target is 5%. Sometimes we go over that. Actually, in the past years, we've gone well over 5%.
Right, but you have a set amount that you allocate to the library, regardless of what the interest is with Washington Trust or the Rhode Island Foundation.
Well, and the other way too, if we have a loss, we still would allocate the 4.5% to 5%.
Correct.
Maybe more.
So my other question is, can the funds that the Friends of the Library have, can they be used as a match for grants? I know you mentioned a letter, you write a letter supporting the thing, but can the funds that you have be used as a match, for grants that the director may be writing grants for?
We have issued a letter to the director that was used to obtain the state grant and aid money.
Right, okay, but that didn't answer the question, that those funds cannot be used as a match. You write a letter in support of but not the funds to be used as a collateral for
Well,
grants.
the teachers' trust money, every year, we just use the actual amount as opposed to, we've been just using the actual amount.
Okay.
I would just a couple of points of clarity. One is that I was going to say, why wouldn't we take advantage of a 25% guarantee? And I caught myself because I've just signed a resolution saying, you got to give us the 25%. But the flip on that is that it's been guaranteed 23%. I am not a financial genius, but if I have a 401k and somebody's promised me 100% guarantee, 23% return, it sounds positive. But I'm going to stop right there for just a moment and say, thank you. Thank you to the Friends. Thank you to the library. Thank you to the board. Thank you to the director. We're all on the same team on this. We all want the same thing. If the money is going to the library, and this is why the Friends are there, and the library can get more money by having the town handle those funds and have it go directly to them. We're using the same investment firm that you touted. We tout too. We think it's outstanding. So it feels to me that we're on the same team. We want the same thing. We guarantee more money to the library. It seems logical. If I'm oversimplifying it, I apologize. Please tell me where I missed it.
Well, I understand that point. We can achieve the same goal, but issuing a letter to the director saying we're giving you this amount of money for within your discretion, in which case you would get the 25%. But I will admit there's no guarantee that we'll do that. So
it just seems like
right.
Nothing is a guarantee, but history is, if it continues to repeat itself,
Right.
It seems appropriate.
Okay.
You asked us to get feedback from the treasurer and the administrator. I would ask the treasurer, can you weigh in on this particular subject? And Mr. Administrator, if you wanted to also, please.
I can. I think this will kind of take away a little bit of where the initial in 2010. So based upon what was approved in the direction that this was supposed to take, I think the way that it reads is that the Friends would provide the town with a report, an annual report, how those funds were spent. I don't think that's been done for quite a few years. And I think that just alleviates that on you folks that you would have to provide that to the town when you're basically just funneling the fund, not funneling, but you're just transferring the funds over to the library anyway. I just don't see how, that could lessen the burden on you folks as to provide us with reports on how the funds were spent.
No, I understand that.
Mhm.
But I will say that we're perhaps a little bit better set up to handle trust with special requests with donors ask recognition.
Sure.
As to, so if you wanted to pass off that administrative burden, that's, something that we're perhaps more used to.
So I would agree with you as it pertains to the library, but we have millions of dollars that the town, through the treasurer, ultimately through the council, that we're responsible for, fiduciary agent of, and we do that all the time. So I defer to the library and the Friends because that's what you do all the time. But
Okay.
we are very comfortable with many millions of dollars in regards to that.
Yeah.
Mr. Administrator?
Yeah, thank you. And to Carl's point, the treasurer's point first, I think it's a much more efficient process. We're already managing the teachers fund. This is a small amount of money, an additional small amount of money to hold. It'll be consolidated in the teachers fund. It's audited every year. We have millions and millions of dollars of well invested money in it, and it's a restricted fund account. But when this was quite a while ago, I learned about this, and then I talked to the solicitor about it. It's very, very simple. And first of all, the Friends of the Rogers Free Library, phenomenal group, does such remarkable work throughout town, not just at the library, but with Book Fest and other initiatives. So I thank you for that. We're all on the same team here.
We are.
But it's very simple. If we can get $3,000 more a year for children's books by getting a match from state aid, why wouldn't we do it? And why wouldn't we have the support of all of library supporters? I think it's very simple. So I'm proud to say, yes, I support this move that the town holds the funds and the town that disperses it directly to the Rogers Free Library. So that would be my recommendation if this is prolonged. I don't see my opinion changing. It just comes down to dollars and cents. We're going to capitalize the state match as much as we can. And I think we should really, I know the chair of the library board is here, the library director is here. Those are previous conversations I've had with the library director. So I'm aware that there is a matching, we're not getting full benefit of the match that we could doing how we do right now. And it's not tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, but $3,000 in children's books is a lot of money. So I think we should take advantage of it and streamline the process. And again, thank the Friends of the Library, because we really depend on them for a lot of other programs. And without their help and support, we wouldn't have the library that we all are
Well said.
used to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think you nailed it. I have this complex diagram right here, and when your 25% thing, I was just like, all right, you know what? I think you nailed it right there, because that's what I drew this whole complex thing to arrive at. And certainly, I think the children's books, yeah, if we can get 3,000 more for the children's books, that would mean a lot.
If this council, Amy, if this council decides to move in this direction that it seems to be going, what would be the motion? And Steve, I will recognize you in just a moment
Appreciate
before we
that.
take a vote.
The motion would be to approve redirecting the funds, the distribution of income funds held in the Public Schools Retirement Fund of Bristol directly to the library, contingent on court approval regarding any petition to be filed concerning the trust. That would be for I-2. For I-3, I think it would be the same motion. So, I think you could either do it as two separate motions or
I'm
one.
going to combine, since we've
Yeah.
already combined it, we'll
them.
make it one.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I don't want a motion yet. I said that I would not call for a vote. Please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Avison, 41 Constitution Street. Thank you. Just, I want to get a point of clarity. How much money are we talking about, possibly, if approved? Bank of America is kind of getting out of the management business here. So how much total money are we talking about?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about $100,000 with regard to the public teachers fund, and about 52,000 for the other one.
That's exactly right. So the town is partly a beneficiary of that Isabel Wardwell Fund as well. So we would be receiving an additional about 150,000, give or take.
And so the amount of money that is drop dead easy, the 25% or whatever, how does that play out? Where does the 25% come from?
The state.
I understand that, but 25% of 150?
Oh, sorry.
No, I think you're talking two different things.
That's why I'm trying to get it
Yeah,
out.
there's two, I think we're trying to do, Eileen.
I'm trying to understand it because
Sure.
I want free money.
Yeah, no,
I want free money for the library. So the 25%, which we said was $3,000 additional dollars.
So Carl can answer that.
Plays
yeah,
off of what-
so the impact of the Isabel Wardwell Trust coming over to the town would just be more interest, and then which would be allocated to the library. So the library is going to see more interest associated with that in benefit of the children's programming.
So we're saying, Carl, that those funds invested realize $10,000. That's where my math approximately.
Yeah, I'm really being persistent here because I really want to understand, because I'm a fan of you guys, fan of this library, and I just want to understand our 25% there.
Carl, I'm
The,
gonna,
the
Isn't it-
director.
okay.
Because there's a
The answer,
specific number,
Carl, I'd like to-
$3,000.
I'm gonna ask you to stop just one sec. Carl, could you answer?
I think the director could speak more on the 25% match from the state
Like the
than I
expenditure.
could. I can address the trusts and I
That's-
can address the endowment amounts.
Okay,
But
so-
she can probably address more the state aid.
the council approved the preceding motion, the 25% that the town would give each year and the state would give us 25% back. Is that correct? I think it is. So this
I don't think
is,
so.
No,
I don't think
We
so.
don't get 25%.
We don't get, we don't.
Okay, so
Sorry.
let's stop just for a moment. So we're saying 25% off the additional, yes, additional, the realized dollars from this investment, which we were guessing in an area of about $10,000. Is that correct? Carl, and correct me, what is the correct number? What are we realizing on a yearly basis off this
So
investment?
right now it's 13, you get approximately a 13 year over year. It's probably gonna be upwards about, probably, estimate about 15, 17,000.
50, so 15,000 times 25%, there's the extra money.
sure. So the money that is managed by the town produces a good result, just as the money that has been managed by the Friends produces a good result. For 16 years, since 2010, the town has relied upon the Friends to manage this money without complaint. You would like to have an accounting of those, and we can provide it probably like that. What we're talking about now is the magic of that $3,000 extra that is going to come from the state somehow. And what I'm curious about is, what is the amount of money that is going to magically be given to the state to get that extra 25%? And is that something that is going to be a one-off, or is it something that happens every year?
Mary, go
Could I just
ahead.
take a shot? I might be wrong, but I think the state, they take the expenditures that the town puts into the library. And that's why it's like 2 years prior.
Mhm.
And then they give their up to 25%, whatever the state decides they can afford, comes back to us as state aid. I think the argument here, or the debate, is if we add that extra 12, 15,000 to those expenditures that's coming from the town, that will yield an extra 3,000 approximately, 2,500, 3,000 to the state aid, because our expenditure would be higher. The town's expenditure would be higher. Is that right? Am I close to this?
That was well done.
Am I close to correct?
That was well done. Director, please come up to the podium. Thank you.
Yes, except the towns is, yes, it would come out of the endowment grant and aid part as opposed to municipal grant and aid. So there's two pots, one based on the operations budget that you provide the library with, and then the other is any endowment grant and aid.
So this would be the endowment portion.
Correct, because it would be an endowment that we're drawing from that would be certified and that money would come back.
Because it's coming from that direction, because it's coming from that, that makes it eligible to be matched. Additionally
Because
matched.
it's an
correct?
endowment grant and aid, yes.
Yes. Versus money from the, I'm trying to make sure I
Well,
understand
the
this too.
Friends, if they were to provide an endowment, then we would get endowment grant and aid. And to be perfectly clear, they did certify some as an endowment
Oh,
last year, which did bring us extra money, which I noted almost $10,000 because they certified $40,000
Huh.
as endowment grant and aid. But it would be better if they certified all of it as endowment grant and aid, because then we'd make even more. That's just my opinion.
so what is the debate here if it's equal then? This is, I mean, I thought the whole,
It's,
I'm trying to understand it too. I mean, the whole thing seems to be, you
It's
know,
not
all
equal.
because we could get the extra 3,000 in state aid, you know, potentially.
Correct.
But if you're saying now it's coming from the Friends and they can have endowment money and that can still be matched.
I didn't hear that, but
Mr. Maloney just said that, or one of them, I'm sorry, said that they weren't sure if they were going to do endowment grant and aid this year, so.
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, that's why I understood it, Peter.
Did say there's, no, you did say there was no guarantee, no. That was your word
Uh,
previously.
That's how I recall. So anyway, I'm very grateful for the Friends. I agree with, this came out of me getting a phone call from the attorneys that want to dissolve the trust. I consulted with the treasurer, who consulted with the attorney, our solicitors, who consulted with the administrator, and this was what they came up with as the best plan for the library, best plan for the town, best plan for the community.
Thank
I
you.
was not initially involved in these conversations.
Thank you.
But the Friends of the Library are giving you more money. You said there was $40,000 that you had given them total. Is that correct?
So in order
Is
to
that
get
right?
endowment grant and aid, you have to be in charge of your money. So since they write the checks for that amount, since the checks do not go through the town, it can't be counted as endowment grant and aid
I thought you just said it was.
because they wrote it off in a certain way so that they could certify a percentage of that to say that we have absolute control of that money as opposed to the Friends.
We've gone past
Yeah,
convoluted.
I don't want to
Yeah.
muddy the waters.
No, you were asked the question and you answered. Thank you. Mr. Administrator, did you want to weigh in on something? And I know that, Tim, did you?
Yeah. It's just
Okay. So,
So-
Mr. Administrator, please.
Yeah,
and then
so
Tim.
I just want to go back to what Ms. Davison's first question was. I think I understand what his question is. How much money do we get from the endowments if it's all held by the town through our restricted fund balance? How much do we get? The treasurer said it's about $15,000 annually on average disbursement to library. Whether right now it goes to the Friends, but so it's every year it's about $15,000.
Every year's 13, but I'm assuming with
13.
the extra funds, we're probably
So-
gonna tip it to
so-
about 50.
Okay, so with the extra funds, 15, so that 25% of that every year would be from the state of Rhode Island, $3,750. That's a guarantee essentially. So I think that's the question. you had.
Yeah.
But it's a guarantee. We don't have to depend on getting a letter, getting something certified. We'd like to get that also. Hopefully, we're not burning our bridges here, but this is a guarantee every year of an extra $37.50 for children's books. And it's pretty much a guaranteed as long as the state is holding up their commitments.
Thank you.
But that's,
Tim.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm very supportive of making sure that these funds are used for the intended benefit of the children's library programs. So I'll take a stab at the motion. I'd
How
like
about you
to
just say so moved?
motion out there. It's
Good, Tim. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Don't throw me off here.
No.
So I'll move to authorize the distribution and direction of the funds described in item I2 and I3 for the benefit of Roger Williams Free Library, to just be spent in the accordance with the purposes of the Wardwell Fund.
Second.
Is that okay, Amy?
Contingent on court approval,
Contingent on, I'm sorry, what was that?
approval of the court.
Approval of the court.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so you had a motion stated by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion.
Yes, I just want to clarify. So we're going to get approximately 150K. Am I correct in that? Total.
That's what I heard.
Yes. So, and this is, I mean, I know we have this in discussion when we got the, Willis support. It's a one-time shot here because they want to close the thing. So whatever we do get it goes automatically into the town, which then it will be distributed to the library. Am I correct on that?
No, the funds will get deposited into the Teachers Trust Fund to be
Okay.
managed by Washington Trust and dispersed to the town on a quarterly basis.
Okay, good.
So we would be getting the interest of up to 15,000 and 13, whatever.
Depending on how the portfolio does.
Right, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, but that would be every year that would then get to the library in a little bit separately than just our regular budget.
Correct.
Okay.
And the percentage the percentage is 25, correct?
Of
You're just- no.
state, of
That's
state
state.
match.
Of the state
State.
match.
Right.
Okay,
That's different.
yes, all right, I'm good.
So,
Thank you.
Amy,
Yeah.
did you want to share anything?
I think the practical effect of this motion is you'd be doing now kind of the same thing you did in 2010, approving a distribution from the public school retirement fund to the library, except this time you'd be doing it directly to the library and not through the Friends.
Any other discussion from the council? I'm going to end it just for the whole council to say, again, this is not about you didn't or did or was not appreciated. So it is quite the opposite. It is appreciation for all parties involved. So just so we leave on a positive note, it felt a little we got our fist up in the air a little bit, and it's unnecessary because everybody's here for the same thing, and thank goodness for that. Makes me think how fortunate we are to live where we live. So, any other discussion?
And Chairman, you said it well. We're all part of the same team,
Yes, we are.
so it's all working out.
And let's find out right now. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There it is.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I4. This is Bristol Town Council. This is for consideration of a proclamation recognizing Small Business Month.
Madam Clerk, can I have the proclamation?
Oh, yes.
This was put on the agenda by request of Tony. Did you want to say anything before I read it?
Just briefly, yes. As we pointed out already earlier on the approval for license, and all the small businesses, whether it's a mom and pop stores or business altogether that still exist. And I'm not going to start mentioning any because I know I'm going to forget some. There are too many to mention. But it's interesting to still walk around town and see, some of our business that have gone back centuries, actually. I can think of a couple of them. So I just thought it was important, since this is the week of the month, actually, for small businesses. We need to recognize them because they are the backbone of our community.
And the proclamation, I'm going to hit most of it here, is that the small businesses are the backbone of local economy and play a vital role in shaping the character, identity, and economic vitality of the town of Bristol. Small business owners, entrepreneurs, and family-operated establishments throughout Bristol contribute to the town's unique charm, create local jobs, provide essential goods and services, and strengthen the sense of community that makes Bristol such a special place to live, work, and visit. And Bristol's small businesses help preserve Bristol's downtown waterfront, neighborhoods, commercial district. You see a recurring theme on this? They do a lot. So it was important that, and I'm glad, Tony, thank you for doing this, and council and the clerk and the administrator all have signed this, recognizing the importance of small business.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
do we need just a receive and file on that?
So it would be to
To-
support the proclamation.
My apologies.
And we'll send it to all the other municipalities. So if that's what the council wishes, we can do that.
That's what we wish. I would.
Yes, thank you.
That was a
So
motion
moved.
from Tony? Oh, no.
Or second?
Okay, so motion from Tony, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I5. This is discussion and possible action regarding House Bill 7676 concerning proposed changes to open meeting requirements and potential council correspondence to the legislation advocacy related to thereto.
So the clerk brought this to my attention about a week ago, maybe week and a half, and you've been looking at this for a little bit. I'm going to ask you to lead the conversation on this. This is actually it's not a bad bill, and its intention is actually extremely positive. Putting it in place may not be as positive as the bill. So, Madam Clerk.
So last Monday, we received the Rhode Island Clerks Association. We have somebody who's part of our legislation board that sends us notices of current legislation that's going through. And this one kind of went under the radar because the way that it was summarized was that it was to allow advisory boards to participate using video conference. And so I didn't read into it as much as I probably should have, and a lot of the clerks didn't. But then it came to our attention that while the intent was really good, there were some provisions in there that could provide or could impose some financial impacts to the town as well as technical difficulties. And so I think first that it's really important to acknowledge that while I understand the importance and the overall support, the goal of like promoting transparency and making sure that we have accessibility there's some points on there that would require all of our boards and commissions to allow video participation. And one of the areas of concern there would be For example, the 4th of July committee meets in an historical building at the Burnside building. They don't necessarily have the capabilities of video conferencing to allow people in. So we have to be mindful of some of these things that are being proposed to our local municipalities to make sure that it is something that we can provide effectively to our boards and commissions to be able to have video conferencing. One of the issues is that there's proposed deadlines of January 27 and January 2028, which, as the council knows, if the council does move our facility to the Katerra School building, if we do technology changes here, we're then going to have that fiscal responsibility of also
again.
doing it
Yeah.
next year. And some of the provisions that are also on there that require things to be done before January 27, the council has already seen its budget. So we don't have any funding to impose certain pieces of it prior to January 2027. So while I think it is a good idea, I think that the rollout for it is not exactly, it's a little quick for us to be able to make sure that we have the funding for it. We're not having any state funding for that. We need to make sure that we have training for a lot of these boards and commissions. We have over 35 boards, 406 volunteers. They need to be trained on how to use some of these documents. The other thing is there was a note that the municipalities upload all of our meeting backup onto the Secretary of State's website. I just want it for the record that I have tried that multiple times. The Secretary of State's website, actually, the size of our packets, because we put so much information, does not have the capacity to actually take the amount of information that we have. A lot of the municipalities use our own platform. So the town of Bristol uses MuniCode, which is where the council now reaches all of our documents. And it's on a town website. So I think there's ways that we can provide access, but I think we have to be a little bit smarter about it and kind of have a 5-year contingency plan or a 10-year contingency plan to make sure that we put those into place. I think it is a good overall goal, but some of the deadlines, it's almost impossible for us to be able to meet those.
One of the requirements is not achievable right now by the state, even though this is
Right.
state legislation.
Mhm. And I think it's good intention. I think it's
100%.
all good
I agree.
intention. It's just, I think we need
Wasn't completely
a little
thought out.
study on
Yeah.
that to make sure that every municipality can succeed at providing those.
So what are you hoping this council take as action?
So this has already passed the House vote, I believe, last Tuesday, I think it was. And I did speak to Representative June Speakman. She did say that there was testimony. Obviously, the clerks were not there. I was not there. She was unaware of it. It had already passed the House vote, and she asked that we submit correspondence with some recommendations to the Senate before the sister bill is introduced, so that way they can take those into consideration.
I think that, it sounds to me like at the legislative level, I think they did this recently with their committees, putting their committees online. But those committees happen in all the rooms that are already able to be filmed. So I think you make a good point, Melissa, that this is a little bit maybe unrealistic, especially for some of the smaller boards and commissions. I can see this maybe for zoning, planning, the ones that would meet like in the council chambers, because there's a lot of people who come to it and so forth. I'm not sure that you need it for the Conservation Commission or some of the others. And I think that might be a distinction that they could be making. And I think you're asking that we maybe send something and say, if you're going to do this, you need to put it off to like 28 or 29. That's one of the points I think that you're making.
I think maybe just a little bit further than 28, 29, because
Okay.
we'd have to retrofit the buildings to actually allow the public participation. So it's requiring that video participation is involved in every single one of the meetings. I think it might be something that's done gradually, maybe start with the town council, the zoning, and the planning board. But the council, I think, also has to take into account that we're going to need somebody who's tech savvy, because there is language in that legislation that also describes if one of the issues that I have is that if the video stream is to lose connection, that the meeting has to be ended, has to be adjourned. And so I don't necessarily agree with that part, because if we have a public hearing and there's a small business here that's waiting for a transfer, I can't control the internet. I can barely control my telephone half the time. And if we can't get the video streaming and we have to stop the meeting, we're going to stop business from going. So I think
That's a
that
good
there needs
point.
to be some clauses or provisions put in there. We're not looking to
It needs to be
stop
more
business.
private.
Well, maybe it's
I-
to ask them to
think-
put this off into a study commission with local town clerks and other people, because you make a very good point about like local businesses. So if you have to wait another 3 weeks to transfer a liquor license, for example, I mean, we just saw a situation where, you know, they ended up losing their buyer, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that is a very serious issue, I think, for people. I don't think it's been thought out. I think it's been thought out that they could do it easily there because they have a camera crew, they have, you know, all the stuff set up. But when you're coming here and you're talking about like the 4th of July committee, I mean, that just open records for that group, I think is very difficult. And to have everything there, and if somebody, you know, can't continue with the meeting, if something happens, I mean, things have happened here. We continue. And I think, you know, if you fix it and be on tape, you can go back and watch what you're missing. I think I would ask that that be turned into a study commission for feasibility, more than anything else, because there's a lot of points.
Because the time is of the essence on this, what are you asking for specifically? Is it you want to send a letter on the council's behalf? Was there a resolution that you had considered?
So I'm going to be 100% honest. So this did happen just the other day. And so I was in panic mode when I sent out that letter and put this on the agenda. I have been working on a phased approach. It is not complete. But I guess in the meantime, there is a letter in the consent agenda item that I had sent to the representatives. If the council would wish to mimic that letter and send that letter to state legislators with letters of concern as well, then I can draft a letter from the council with those same areas of concern, so that way they can take a further look into the actual legislation.
That sounds very appropriate to me. Is
And
council
I can
okay?
also-
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And I can also
Yeah.
add Mary's language
Yeah.
to put this into further study.
You echoed a lot
Yeah.
of valid concerns.
And
Well, yeah, I just wanted to,
Please.
what are some of the good things about the bill? This bill, I mean, it's kind of before us and everything like that, but what does the Clerks Association, what do they like about it?
So I haven't talked to the Clerks Association in whole. We do have our meeting in June, so we will talk about it then. But I think I'll speak for myself. I think being transparent and accessible for everybody. I know that when my kids were little, I couldn't make it to every single meeting. It's really nice if somebody can participate from the comfort of their own home. I do think there's a lot of good intent here, and just access to government is I think all of our goal, to make sure that everybody be able to do that and see that. But it just has to come it has to be in a feasible way. We're not looking to make anybody fail doing this. I think it just has to be done in a more understanding approach. But access to documents, seeing what's in front of the council, some of the ordinances that are going to make changes to their town and their livelihood, and having people participate on video eventually would be ideal. But it just, we have to have the capability to do that.
Can I ask
And-
a question for the solicitor on this one? My understanding is that the bill that's been passed in the House, of course, it's not gonna, it might not pass the Senate in the form that it is. There's an opportunity to make changes to it. There's an opportunity to extend some of the deadlines. Sorry, guys, I know everybody wants to get out of here, but I think that this is important too, because it deals with transparency and open meetings and things like that. And I actually watched the committee hearings, and I saw the people that were testifying in support of this. These were people that arrived in wheelchairs who have a very difficult time to participate in meetings. And these are, people that are blind. One of the things, if you want to go to a public meeting and you're blind, one of the things that you have to do is you have to arrange paratransit for that. And that's not always an easy thing for them to do. And when they arrange for paratransit, they don't know when they're going to get picked up from the meeting. So they might be sticking around at a meeting for a very long time after all the business has been concluded. So there's a huge barrier, I think, for some people on this. But I think one of the questions I have for the solicitor is that this doesn't, it's not all boards and commissions that are required to be videotaped. My understanding, I read it, And it said, if you are an advisory board, that you would have to be, and if a member of that advisory board cannot attend that meeting and they can only, and they want to attend remotely, that's what triggers the public or the virtual meeting. And when it triggers the virtual meeting, that's when it triggers all of the safeguards. So if you look at the definition of advisory board, that one covers something like the canvassing authority. They are not making decisions where they're advising the town council to do one thing or another, right? They're making decisions about ballots and things like that. They have ultimate decision-making authority on that. A planning board would be an example of if they have a meeting where they are making a decision, an authoritative decision, that would not have to be something that would be covered under this statute or this
not
bill
true.
right here.
That's,
Unless they made an some sort of advisory decision on their agenda, and a member of that board would not be able to attend and only would be able to attend via a virtual meeting, is when that would be triggered under that. I mean, I read the testimony from Common Cause on this, ACLU, and that was my understanding of it.
Right.
But, and I know that this kind of came at the last minute for the clerks and everything like that, but I spent on quite a bit of time last night looking
and
through
that's what I
this.
thought too when I originally saw it, because it did say in the summary that it was for advisory boards. But on page 6, on line items 18 to 21, it says effective January 1st, 2028, all cities and town councils and school boards and committees that practice statute, ordinance, policy, provide any opportunity for a member of the public in attendance to provide input during the public meeting shall also provide an effective means of participation by members of the public by video conference.
Yeah, so in 2028, that's when it
20
would, yeah,
in
it would be
2028.
triggered statewide for,
that portion. And then there's other
Yeah.
portions in here that note that the boards and commissions need to provide all their agenda documents on the state website by January 2027.
Okay.
So the boards and commissions, we need to be trained on how to use our system. I'd have to find a system that can hold the capability of all those boards and commissions and all of those documents. And we'd have to make sure that the state's website would also be able to hold that.
Okay.
There's also some miscommunication in here about live streaming and what that means, because live streaming under if you look it up on the internet, could mean Zoom. Other definitions do not note Zoom, and there's no definition here about the live stream. So I think the intent is good, and I think that there is a goal for us to get there. I just think the January 27th, 2027 and the January 2028 don't give us sufficient time to be able to train people and make sure that we get this 100% and put us in any violation. I don't want to see the town be put in a violation and that we don't have the capability of providing that to members of the public falsely.
Seems reasonable.
That's my
Amy, is
opinion.
that would be,
Yeah, so this is a comprehensive bill that would really overhaul and significantly amend several sections of the Open Meetings Act, so that there's different provisions in the bill, as the clerk has explained, that would apply to different levels of the public bodies. The online posting of the meeting packet requirement, that would be for everyone, advisory or not. The live streaming would only be for the certain, city, town council, school boards. And then the allowance for advisory body members to participate remotely would be, again, advisory bodies. So there's different levels. I think the concern is, generally the unfunded mandate, the training aspect, the technology aspect. But I would just say, from my perspective, from the solicitor perspective, it would represent a very significant overhaul of the Open Meetings Act.
yeah, which I think some people would like, and especially people that struggle to make those meetings, or if it would be, or think about like an advisory board member who right now they cannot participate in an advisory board meeting. The reason why, they have to get like a waiver from the governor's office of disability to do something like that. In addition to that, or if they're a military service member or something like that, that allows them a waiver. But I do think that there's a lot here. So if we're doing any action or anything like that, I'm probably going to vote against it. It doesn't mean that I'm voting against the clerk. It doesn't mean that I'm taking any other type of position on this, but anytime we have something like this comes up,
See, I appreciate
Yeah.
where you're coming from on this, but I did not hear one time from anyone that there's not a support for all the things that you just said. What I hear is that it is unrealistic. We've already passed our budget. That's one. Two, they're not offering us any money. That's again with the money. There's nobody push. At least I don't hear it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. What you just said, the clerk said, I said, everybody said, we agree. There's value in doing this, but you can't go from 0 to 1 million. It takes time to put these things in place. I think the spirit has been said a few times is an excellent one. I think there's a lot of opportunity for advancement here. But saying yes, not pushing back against this says that we're going to give up something else. I don't know what that is, including possibly having a meeting. I loved your example of a small business. That's a great point. Did not come to mind until you brought it to mind. So I guess let's go back. I'm going to say what I said about the library and the friends. We're all on the same page on this. You may want this to happen faster. I think I hear that from you, but I think we all think this is valuable. I don't hear any objection to the thought process behind it. What are you asking for? I'm going to ask that again. What would you request from this council? And I'm going to ask for a motion once I hear that.
So I brought this to the council to voice. I sent my own letter to the state representatives before this comes up, just letting them know that I had concerns with feasibility, just where the finances come, who's going to train people. I want this to work 100%, and I want to be able to give access to people. But if the council doesn't give me somebody to do the technology for the council meetings, or to have somebody here to manage who's coming in and who's coming out, I don't know how that's going to work. It would require a study on how we implement that here and what that cost is going to be to the town to make sure that we have the fees to provide that access. I think it's more of a concern. Let's just make sure that we have funding for this so that way we can be 100% successful on that. And some of the language needs to be cleared up. For example, like it should have the definition of live stream, because my interpretation of live stream may not be what other interpretation of live stream is. I think the other piece that also needs to be noted on there is, can the council pause the meeting if there's an internet interruption and then resume? There's no language on that there. And so there's some gray areas to make sure that the council can keep on going with their meetings. If the council wants to fully approve it and have the funding for it, that's
Next year.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So what
But
we need,
not even-
please,
Yes.
is a motion to support, in my
A
opinion.
resolution? to-
Well,
No,
a
not
letter
even.
to that either mimics or closely mimics the letter that the clerk already put in our consent agenda, and that would be done on behalf of the council, saying that although we support the spirit of the bill, the implementation needs and Mary, I believe you had said about a study committee to do this the right way.
I think it seems like a lot, especially as Amy just described it, as overhauling all of the public meeting laws. I mean, to do that in like 8.5 months, let's say, that's a lot. And I think that, it is like, I think they would be better to define like some of the, like, what are they really trying to get at? Like, because, you have sort of quasi-public, you have like the library, and you have, they're part of the town, but they're also their own entity. And what do you do with them? It's every one of their meetings have to be advertised. Do they fall into that? I mean, I don't know the answer to these questions. So I think they would be better off to define, like, let's see how this works and take some of the major boards and commissions that make most of those decisions that affect everyday life. In Bristol would be, like I said, zoning, planning, historic district. There's probably like about 5 or 6 of them, as opposed to every single group. And what is advisory? What do we have that's advisory? Probably the Parks and
advisory.
Recreation, for example. So I think that it needs to be thought out better as it's going to be implemented in 39 different cities and towns who have different levels of technology, who have different levels of boards and commissions. And you're talking about cities like Providence versus Hopkinton, and I think you have to kind of figure out, like, what do they really want to get at? I think it was very easy for them to say, this is just like we did here at the State House for all of our committees, except what they forgot is that they have camera people, they have this, they have that, they have all that technology, and they have all the same rooms that they always use. So I think that is, I don't think they realize how difficult this is going to be to implement in some ways, and I think that's what we have to make them understand.
So how about this? How about if we empower you, we'll get a motion to that effect to write a letter to encapsulating what you've already done, plus I'm going to say majority opinion, because I know Aaron has expressed his concerns about supporting this. So I'll say encapsulating the majority.
Just one suggestion for the letter, and certainly I'm happy to offer our assistance on this. How about, here's another suggestion. How about whatever new obligations are imposed, give us a grace period of, a year or two, so that we, public bodies couldn't be, charged with a violation.
Right.
If this is something that we're still working, not for the things that we've already had to do, post agendas, file minutes, that kind of thing. But with respect to the new obligations, that's another thing that the state could do, a potential amendment to this bill that would make the new obligations easier to get used to over time.
Well, even let the cities and towns come up with a plan, give a certain amount of time to come up with their plan of how they'll implement this with better guidelines of what the state wants from that.
Tim?
I just want to say, Amy, just to your point that I think we all agree that we want more transparency. We're going on the record. We definitely want more transparency. I think what lacking here is a clear rollout plan, a very strategic rollout plan as to what are the milestones, where we're going to hit, and what does the town need to adhere by certain dates. And I think the dates are just really aggressive, being that we've already done our budget and we just don't have the money right now to do that. So, but I don't hear anybody against any sort of transparency issues here. I think we all want more transparency. It's just really what the rollout plan is. It's got a lot of flaws.
So can I have a motion to the, go ahead. No, it's all-
Okay, no, just very quickly, but, the point that this is nicely worded for the people who testified before the committee and says, here are our issues, not considering the flip side of the coin and go, what are the challenges for implementation?
I would just make a motion that we send a letter to our legislative delegation, particularly on the Senate side, and to the Senate Majority Leader and others, raising the concerns of local government in around this legislation and the aggressive time frame and how that needs to be stretched out a little bit, and the funding concerns, et cetera, especially in lieu of the fact that I don't think every single city in town yet, but almost everyone has already done their budget for the next fiscal year.
Yep.
And I think that I would leave that up to our clerk, who knows these issues, and our legal counsel to develop that letter based on what they've already written.
I would include that we should also empower the chairman to sign off on that so that they see this is not just from, the clerk
Yeah,
and I think that this is a voice of the council as
Yeah,
well.
that's a good idea. Yeah, very
Is there a
good.
second?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is K1. This is the Bristol County Water Authority. This is the Tri-Town Monthly Report from April 2026.
Make a motion to receive and file and with a thank you to the chair.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Amy?
The executive session item M1 calls for a motion under section 42-465A2 of the Open Meetings Act pertaining to litigation, potential litigation.
I'm sorry, Amy, we're not going to ask for that motion yet. I asked to pull GG4 forward, and I totally forgot about that. Thank you, Tony. GG4 is, actually, I'm just going to ask the town administrator to speak on this. This is a letter of recognition and appreciation for the Bristol Sewer Department. Mr. Administrator?
Yeah, so I included a letter that I sent to the DPW, the sewer department, to post there and just to express gratitude for their work with that sewer main break on April 24th. There was two members of the sewer department. They were doing their morning inspections first thing in the morning. They noticed some water on a Anawamsket Drive. They pulled over, they investigated, they determined it was sewerage in the area of Opeechee Drive. So they immediately responded to the pump station, shut the pump down. That is a forced main that runs from the Mount Hope pump station at the bottom of Anawamsket all the way up to Metacom. So then gravity flows to the wastewater treatment facility. So it was under pressure. The pipe was about 41 years old, not terribly old, actually, in still pretty good condition. So they immediately called the superintendent. The rest of the personnel arrived without delay, called septage haulers in. 3 septage hauler trucks came in, get a contractor. They got a contractor on site. Contractor was there by about 10 a.m. By 4 p.m., the pipe was repaired and things were flowing. And unfortunately, there is a storm system nearby, so some sewage did get into Mount Hope Bay, and that's where there was quite a bit of public discourse on that. But why I wanted to reassure the members of the sewer department, they did everything right. It was explained in media outlets that was preventable, which I think was a very reckless and unfair thing to say. I don't know how we could have ever prevented that. It's a forced main. It was immediately that morning. It was noticed during the overnight hours. It wasn't. It's not practical to put any type of an alarm on a system like that. There are alarms that work well in the pump station. Everything else is working well. It was no fault of the sewer department members. As you know, we invest about $2 million a year into our infrastructure. We do replacement lines annually through the revolving fund. So we dig and replace, or we slip line our pipes. We're in a robust program there. But I just thought it was important that I share this with the council, that the members of the sewer department, we're lucky to have them. They did an outstanding job. They noticed it. They're well-trained, they're experienced, and they responded as quickly as possible. And if those two members kept driving, did their inspection, that could have gone on all day long until we got a call. But they were out doing their inspections and they noticed it. And I just wanted to, actually call out the members, Tyler McCain and John Cadero. John Cadero's been with us since the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
We're lucky to have him, and he has a lot of experience. And I know Tony remembers them when he was the administrator. So, but I don't know if you noticed my demeanor here. I just want to really defend our members because I think they were getting some public ridicule. They were as upset as I am and all of you that there was sewage in the bay. We all enjoy the bay the same ways, but we're surrounded by water on 3 sides. And we're doing the very best we can. That's it. So I just wanted to share that with you, that it wasn't preventable. I think I'll say it again. That was somewhat of a reckless statement to say that was preventable. I don't know. Come up with a solution then, because we'll be happy to explore what the other solution is. We examined the pipe, and we think perhaps it was damaged or it was a faulty pipe from manufacturer 41 years ago. But other than that, there was no fault of our members.
So you defend those who can't defend themselves? They don't have a microphone? You do. Well said.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have a motion to receive and file?
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Amy, guess what you get to say again?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next item calls for a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to section 42-465A2 of the Open Meetings Act pertaining to potential litigation.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. Discussion. We are going into executive session. We will stop the video here, but we will come out of executive session and end the meeting in public. After that, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.